Alright guys, in the last video we created our UI, we created the index.html file for the book list project. Now we want to start to work on our JavaScript. So as I said, we're going to start off with just using basic ES5 object-oriented programming using constructors and prototype methods. So let's go ahead and create the two constructors we need. One is going to be the book constructor, and then one is going to be the UI constructor. Okay, now the book constructor is going to handle creating the actual book object. The UI constructor is going to be a set of prototype methods to do things like add the book to the list, delete the book, show the alert, things that have to do with the UI. So that'll be most of the work will be in the UI constructor. All right, but let's create the book function first. Okay, and book is going to take in a title, an author, and an ISBN. And then of course we want to set this.title equals title that's passed in, this.author, and this.ISBN equals ISBN. Okay, so that's our book constructor, very simple. The UI constructor is going to be even more simple because we're not going to be passing anything in. It's just going to be an empty function. All right, everything else is going to go inside of the prototype. All right, so down here we're going to create our event listeners. So we're going to say document.getElementById, and we want the form which has an ID of, what is it? I think it's book form. Yep, book-form. So we're going to grab that, and then we're going to add an event listener onto that. We want to listen for a submit, and then we want to run a function. We're going to pass in the event object, and let's just do a console.log, and we'll just say test, and we want to make sure we stop the form from submitting. We want to stop the initial behavior, so we're going to say e.preventDefault. So now if I go ahead and open up my console over here and we submit, we get test. Good. Alright, so what do we want to happen when we submit? First thing we want to do is get these fields. So let's create a bunch of variables here. So we'll say const title equals, let's do getElementById, title, and we want the value. Okay, and let's just put a comma here, and then we don't have to keep writing const. So we'll say author equals author, comma, and then we'll say ISBN equals ISBN. All right, so now we have the form fields, and let's just do a little test here in console log. We'll say title, author, ISBN. Okay, we'll just put whatever in here, doesn't matter, and submit, and we're getting, oh, I forgot the dot value for the ISBN. Okay, so now it's giving us all of those fields. Good. And let's just put a comment here. We'll say get form values. Okay. Now, once we submit these, we want to instantiate the book constructor, or the book objects. So let's go ahead and let's add const book, and let's set it to new book, and then we're going to pass in the title, author, and ISBN. All right, so here we're instantiating a book. Okay, and then we'll do a console.log of book. So let's put something in here and submit, and you can see we now have a book object. And if we look at that, we have the author, the ISBN, and the title. We also have a prototype, which just has our constructor. Now, we're going to want to add a book to the table down here, and the UI object is going to take care of that. So what I want to do now is instantiate a UI object. So let's do that. So we'll say const UI equals new UI. Just like that. And then let's see. Let's get rid of this console log, and let's say UI. We'll put a comment here. We'll say add book to list. So we'll say UI dot. Actually, I called it lowercase UI, right? Or I should actually. Let's go like that. And then we'll say UI dot add book to list. Okay, and then we need to pass in that book object. So let's go up here now, and under the function, we're going to create a prototype. So we're going to say UI dot prototype dot add book to list, and we're going to set that equal to a function. Okay, and that function is going to take in that book object. So let's just test it out and say console log book, save, put something in here, and submit, and you can see it's logging the book. So it's calling this prototype. Now, if we were to go down here and console log UI and do the submit, because that's when it's going to actually log, and we look at this and we look in the prototype, we now have add book to list. Okay, so that's part of the UI object's prototype. So let's go ahead and just get rid of that. I just wanted to show you that that method is now in the prototype. So let's go ahead and create a variable called list, and we want to set this to the book list. So if we look at our HTML, the T body has an ID of book list. So we're going to set that here. So document.getElementById book list. Okay, now we want to create an element. Let's say create, it's actually going to be a TR, a table row element. So let's say const, and we'll call this row. Set it to document.createElement. Okay, so we're going back to the DOM stuff that we learned a few sections back, and this is going to be a TR element. All right, we can do a console log. So if we were to run that method, oh, we got an error there. Let's see, what did I do? Get element by ID book list. All right, so you know what, when it just flashes like that, what we want to do is preserve the log. So if I make this a little bigger, we get this gear icon. We're going to say preserve log, and then let's try it again and submit. All right, so we get TR is not defined, and that's because this should be row, not TR. All right, so let's unpreserve the log. We don't want those to keep adding up. Just click this gear again. All right, so now we'll go ahead and add something and submit, and you can see we get our TR. So that's what we're building. Now we're going to want to take this TR and append HTML into it, which will be the actual column, the TDs. So let's do that. Let's say insert calls. So we'll say row.inner HTML equals, we're going to set it to a template literal, so use backticks, and then we'll put our TD. Okay, so this is going to be the book.title. We're able to get this because we passed the book into the prototype method. Now we're going to just copy this, Paste in 3 more. This will be the book author. This will be the ISBN. And this will be the delete button, or the delete link. So we'll put an A tag here. I'm actually just going to put an X, and let's give this a class of delete. Okay, now it's not going to show up just yet. We want to append to the list, so I'm going to get rid of the console log, and I'm going to say list.append child, and we're going to pass in the row. Okay, and that's it. That should actually add it to the table. So let's save. Let's say book 1, John Doe, some number, and let's make that smaller. Let's submit, and there we go. All right, if we want to add book 2, submit, there we go. Now we are going to want to clear these fields once we submit, so let's do that. That'll be part of the UI prototype as well. We want to call that right after we add the book. So let's go right here and say clear fields. We'll say UI dot clear fields, and we'll create that up here. So we'll say UI dot prototype dot clear fields, equals function, and then all we need to do is say document dot get element by ID, title dot value, and we want to set it equal to nothing. Okay, so we're going to do that for all 3 fields. So title, author, ISBN. So now if we were to enter something here and submit, the fields get cleared and it gets added down here. All right, so I think that's a good place to stop. In the next video, we're going to work on the alert and validation, because we don't want to be able to submit nothing. You can see if I click submit, it's actually adding just nothing here. So we want to do some validation. We want to work on our little error message.